Cleveland is on fire, and not the good kind. What's happening inside the Browns organization right now is pure chaos, a full-blown meltdown that nobody saw coming. It's not just a losing streak or a bad playbook. It's something much deeper. A battle of egos, power, and pride that's tearing the team apart from the inside out. And at the center of it all is one name that's got everyone talking: Shedeur Sanders. The owner wants him on the field. The head coach refuses to play him. And the general manager, he's stuck right in the middle, trying to keep the ship from sinking. But here's the kicker: this drama didn't start last week or even last month. This storm has been brewing since draft night, when the Browns took not one but two quarterbacks and set off a chain reaction that would shake the franchise to its core. Now insiders are leaking reports left and right. ESPN Cleveland is calling it strife in the building. Tony Rizzo says it's Kevin Stefanski versus everyone else. And Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Browns, is done playing nice. He's furious. He's demanding change. He's demanding Shedeur Sanders. Meanwhile, head coach Kevin Stefanski is digging his heels in, insisting that veteran Joe Flacco, the 40-year-old former Super Bowl MVP, deserves to keep his job. But fans have eyes, and they've seen the interceptions, the missed throws, the offense that can't even break 17 points. The locker room's energy is fading fast, and patience in Cleveland, a city that's seen more football heartbreak than most, is running out. But hear what makes this story explosive. This isn't just a football debate about who should start. It's a power struggle that could rewrite careers. If Shedeur plays well, the owner wins, and Stefanski looks like a man who held back the future. But if Shedeur struggles, Haslam takes the blame for forcing his hand. Either way, someone's losing control. And the fans, they're caught in the middle, watching another Browns season spiral into chaos. But trust me, the truth behind this mess goes way deeper than what's being reported. Because when egos collide in Cleveland, no one walks away clean. The tension inside the Cleveland Browns front office isn't just uncomfortable, it's volcanic. What started as quiet disagreements over quarterback decisions has exploded into a full-on civil war. On one side, you've got head coach Kevin Stefanski, stubborn, calculated, and determined to prove that his system and experience are all that matter. On the other, owner Jimmy Haslam and GM Andrew Berry, both furious and fed up with what they see as Stefanski's pride getting in the way of progress. Multiple insiders have confirmed what fans have been whispering for weeks. Cleveland's leadership is split straight down the middle. Stefanski wants to stick with veteran Joe Flacco, even though he's looked every bit his age this season. Slow reads, poor accuracy, and 6 interceptions in just 4 games. But Haslam and Berry see something Stefanski refuses to acknowledge. A wasted opportunity sitting right there on the bench: Shedeur Sanders, the young quarterback with untapped potential and undeniable star power. According to ESPN Cleveland's Tony Rizzo, the strife in the building isn't just tension, it's confrontation. Meetings have turned heated. Voices have been raised. Haslam reportedly demanded a clear plan for the future, only to hear the same recycled excuses about development and readiness. That's when he snapped. He wants Shedeur in the game now, and he's not just suggesting it, he's demanding it. For Stefanski, it's more than just a football call. It's about control. If he gives in and starts Shedeur, it looks like the owner's running the show, and every coach knows that once that line is crossed, it's nearly impossible to get authority back. But Haslam doesn't care about that dynamic anymore. The Browns are 1-3, the offense is lifeless, and fans are already calling for heads to roll. Andrew Berry, stuck in the middle, is doing his best to play mediator, but even he knows the writings on the wall. The locker room feels the divide. The city feels it. And every passing week without results only makes the tension worse. The Browns aren't just fighting to save their season. They're fighting to decide who actually runs this team. And if you thought this was just about a quarterback, wait until you see what happened next. It all started on draft night, the moment that quietly fractured the Cleveland Browns from the inside out. On paper, it looked like just another NFL draft. But behind the cameras, it was a chess match filled with tension, forced smiles, and decisions that would come back to haunt the franchise. The Browns didn't just draft one quarterback, they drafted two, and that single move lit the fuse on everything that's happening now. In the third round, Cleveland selected Dillon Gabriel, the accurate, efficient, safe quarterback out of Oklahoma. The room applauded. Stefanski looked pleased Gabriel fit his mold, controlled, system-driven, and coachable. But then came the fifth round, and everything changed. When the league announced Shedeur Sanders to the Browns, the reaction inside the war room wasn't excitement, it was silence. Insiders later described the moment as awkward. Andrew Berry's expression was stone cold, and Kevin Stefanski forced a half-smile that fooled no one. The applause that followed was weak and mechanical, like everyone knew this wasn't their call. Reports soon surfaced that Jimmy Haslam had gone rogue, overruling both his coach and general manager to make sure Shedeur was drafted. The reason? Haslam had reportedly been fascinated by Deion Sanders' son ever since Colorado's explosive season. A few weeks before the draft, word got out that Haslam and Deion had dinner together, a meeting that raised eyebrows across the league. Skip Bayless even called it a publicity stunt, claiming Haslam wanted a splashy move to bring attention back to the Browns. But when the media questioned Haslam about it later, he denied everything and cleverly shifted the blame. "If you told me Friday night we were picking Shedeur, I'd have said that's not happening," he told reporters. Then he added, "That was Andrew's call." Translation: if Shedeur succeeds, I discovered him. If he fails, it's the GM's fault. Classic owner politics. From that night on, the Browns' leadership wasn't united. It was fractured, one side chasing safe decisions, the other chasing headlines. And as the months went by, that silent draft room moment turned into open warfare over who would control Cleveland's future. But as bad as that night was, the chaos that followed would make it look calm. The 2025 season was supposed to be different. The Browns had the talent, the draft capital, and the momentum to finally turn things around. But just a few games in, it was clear this wasn't a team on the rise. It was a team unraveling in real time. The offense was broken, the chemistry was gone, and the pressure inside the building was building to a breaking point. The Browns stumbled out of the gate with a 1-3 record, and what little spark they had on offense quickly fizzled out. They hadn't scored more than 17 points in a single game. Every drive looked the same: short passes, broken protection, and an aging Joe Flacco struggling to keep up with the speed of the modern game. The once celebrated veteran looked like a shell of his former self, completing barely 58% of his passes and throwing 6 interceptions in just 4 games. Fans who once chanted his name were now booing at home games. Inside the locker room, frustration was boiling over. Players were quietly questioning the play calling, the leadership, and the direction of the team. Even assistant coaches were reportedly clashing behind closed doors. Meanwhile, Kevin Stefanski refused to budge. He kept preaching consistency and experience, defending Flacco like his career depended on it, because, in a way, it did. But Jimmy Haslam wasn't buying it. The owner saw what everyone else did: a lifeless offense led by a quarterback past his prime. Along with GM Andrew Berry, he began quietly pushing for change. They wanted to see what the young guns could do, especially the one sitting third on the depth chart, Shedeur Sanders. But every time the conversation came up, Stefanski shot it down. "He's not ready," he'd insist. "He needs more development." That's when the whispers started: rumors of tension, arguments, and meetings that ended with doors slamming. Haslam wanted results, Stefanski wanted control, and the locker room was caught in the middle.
If you enjoyed today's breakdown and want to keep up with all the drama, trades, and behind-the-scenes action in the NFL, then don't forget to hit that like button.
The Browns weren't just losing games, they were losing direction. And while the rest of the league moved forward, Cleveland was stuck in the same old story: too much talent, too little trust. But this wasn't just stubborn coaching, it was fear. And soon, that fear would be exposed. On the surface, Kevin Stefanski's refusal to play Shedeur Sanders looks like a simple coaching decision: a veteran head coach protecting a rookie from being thrown into chaos too soon. But insiders say there's something deeper, something more personal, driving his resistance. It's not just about development or readiness. It's about fear. Stefanski knows what's at stake. If Shedeur takes the field and performs well, the entire narrative around Cleveland's dysfunction changes overnight. The young quarterback that the owner supposedly forced on him suddenly looks like the future. And if that happens, Stefanski's credibility as a quarterback evaluator and his control over the team collapses instantly. It's the one outcome he can't afford. Behind closed doors, the whispers have gotten louder. Stefanski and Jimmy Haslam have reportedly clashed in meetings, with the owner demanding Shedeur get reps in practice, while Stefanski insists on keeping the same rotation. According to Cleveland insiders, he's blocked every attempt from upper management to even test Shedeur with the first-team offense. And when reporters press him about the quarterback depth chart, he dodges the question entirely. When journalist Mary Kay Cabot asked him point-blank, "If Dillon Gabriel starts, does that move Shedeur to QB too?" Stefanski refused to answer. His silence said it all, because admitting Shedeur should be QB2 means acknowledging that the kid is ready, and that opens the door for the next question: why isn't he starting? It's not just about playing favorites, it's about protecting power. Stefanski sees Dillon Gabriel as his guy, the quarterback that fits his scheme, his coaching style, his identity. But Shedeur, he represents Haslam's influence, Deion Sanders' spotlight, and everything Stefanski can't control. Letting him succeed would mean admitting that the head coach doesn't have all the answers. And that's the nightmare scenario. Because once a coach loses that perception of control, the clock starts ticking on his job. So instead of taking a chance, Stefanski's playing it safe, even if it means holding back a potential franchise star. But the cracks are starting to show, and the pressure's building fast. Because sooner or later, that fear of losing control will cost him everything. If there's one thing everyone in Cleveland agrees on, it's that Jimmy Haslam knows how to stir the pot and somehow still walk away clean. He's been running the Browns like a chessboard for years, and every move has a purpose. To outsiders, it looks like he's backing Shedeur Sanders with full confidence. But insiders say Haslam's real game is far more complicated and far more self-serving. Publicly, he loves the optics of being the bold owner who believes in youth. He talks about innovation, energy, and the future. Privately, though, Haslam has built his reputation by pitting his people against each other, then stepping in as the fixer once chaos breaks loose. It's a strategy that keeps everyone dependent on him. Stefanski, the front office, even Shedeur, they all need his approval, because no one ever truly knows where he stands. When Shedeur was drafted, Haslam reportedly played both ends. He hyped up the rookie to the media, but behind the scenes, he assured Stefanski that his job was safe and that Gabriel would get his fair shot. In other words, Haslam planted seeds of competition and stepped back to watch them grow into tension. It's classic corporate politics, only this time, it's happening in a locker room. Multiple sources around the organization have said that Haslam thrives in these moments. The leaks, the rumors, the drama, it keeps the spotlight on him as the hands-on owner. And for Haslam, attention equals control. He's mastered the art of letting the public see just enough to make him look decisive, while keeping the real decisions murky. Some believe Haslam's long-term plan is even more calculated. Let the conflict play out, and whichever side wins, Stefanski's loyalty or Shedeur's breakout, he'll take credit. If Stefanski succeeds, Haslam looks patient and strategic. If Shedeur becomes a star, Haslam looks visionary. Either way, Jimmy wins. But the locker room doesn't. His political games may protect his image, but they've created a culture of mistrust inside the Browns organization. Players and coaches alike are walking on eggshells, never sure whose side the owner is really on. And in a league built on unity, that kind of divide can destroy a season before it even begins. Because when the boss plays both sides, everyone else ends up losing. The news dropped like a bomb. Hours before kickoff in London, Kevin Stefanski announced Dillon Gabriel would be the starting quarterback, not Shedeur Sanders. Fans were stunned, reporters were blindsided, and the locker room completely split. It wasn't just a lineup decision, it was a statement. Stefanski had drawn his line in the sand, right in front of the entire world. The team had flown across the Atlantic for what was supposed to be a fresh start. A new environment, a chance to regroup after a turbulent few weeks. But instead of calm, Cleveland found more chaos. Players close to Shedeur said he'd been preparing all week as if he might finally get his shot, working late, watching film, staying quiet. The anticipation was building, but Stefanski's call crushed that momentum in seconds. According to multiple insiders, even Jimmy Haslam wasn't fully briefed on the switch until it hit the media. That's how secretive Stefanski had become. It was a move designed not just to win a game, but to send a message that this was still his team, his decision, and his quarterback. The problem? Gabriel's debut didn't go as planned. Cleveland's offense sputtered from the start. Missed reads, broken protection, and no rhythm. Gabriel looked tense, almost like he was carrying the weight of a controversy he never asked for. Cameras caught Shedeur on the sideline, helmet on, eyes locked on the field, expression unreadable. To fans watching, it was a symbol of everything wrong in Cleveland. Talent waiting in silence while politics ran the show. The London crowd didn't care about the drama. They wanted fireworks. But what they got was a sloppy performance that ended in boos. And as the team walked off the field, whispers started spreading again about how long Stefanski could keep this act up before it blew apart completely. Back home, the headlines wrote themselves. The London mistake. Stefanski's gamble backfires, and Haslam furious over quarterback decision. For a team already walking a tightrope. The London trip turned a quiet feud into a full-blown war. Because now, it wasn't just about who started in London. It was about who would survive in Cleveland once the fallout hit home. Behind the calm press conferences and carefully worded interviews, the Cleveland Browns are unraveling from the inside out. What fans see on Sundays is only a fraction of the story. According to multiple team insiders, the tension inside team headquarters has reached a breaking point, and almost everyone is picking sides. It starts with the power triangle: Kevin Stefanski, Jimmy Haslam, and Shedeur Sanders. Each one holds influence, but none of them trust the other. Stefanski has reportedly stopped communicating directly with Haslam about quarterback decisions, routing everything through the general manager. It's a subtle act of defiance, but one that hasn't gone unnoticed. Haslam, in turn, has been calling private meetings with Shedeur's camp, expressing his support while quietly pressuring the staff to give the rookie more opportunities. According to reports, the tension has even bled into team practices. One assistant coach allegedly told a reporter that players can feel the divide every time they walk into the facility. Offensive drills have turned into silent power struggles, with Stefanski scripting plays that limit Shedeur's opportunities in reps, and veteran players openly questioning why the rookie isn't getting more time with the starters. Then there's the locker room split. Some veterans, particularly those loyal to Stefanski, want to stick to the plan and trust the system. But the younger players, especially those close to Shedeur, are growing frustrated. They see a player with leadership, charisma, and talent being held back for reasons that have nothing to do with football. It's political, not performance, one insider reportedly said. Adding fuel to the fire are the leaks, stories popping up almost daily from unnamed sources about what's really going on. Each one paints a different picture, but the message is the same. Cleveland is fractured. The coaches don't trust ownership. Ownership doesn't trust the coaches. And the players are caught in the crossfire. Even within the organization, people are starting to whisper that a major shakeup is inevitable, whether that means a firing, a trade, or a public showdown. But no one knows who's going to blink first. Because while the cameras show a team focused on the next game, behind those closed doors, Cleveland is in survival mode, and every move feels like the setup for the next explosion. The stage is set, the players are in position, and the tension inside the Cleveland Browns is approaching a breaking point. Every day that Shedeur Sanders sits on the bench, the pressure mounts, not just on the rookie, but on everyone involved. Kevin Stefanski's job is on the line, Jimmy Haslam is pushing harder than ever, and the fans are losing patience fast. The clock is ticking, and no one can stop it. Cleveland's offense remains a mess. The team sits at 1-3, struggling to put points on the board. Flacco is aging before everyone's eyes. Gabriel's brief start in London did little to inspire confidence. And Shedeur, he's waiting, preparing, and quietly growing restless. Inside the building, whispers of when will he finally get his shot are getting louder every day. Analysts, insiders, and even rival teams are all watching, knowing that this moment could define the future of the franchise. Stefanski is caught in a bind. His loyalty to his quarterback plan has turned into a career gamble. If Gabriel fails again, or if the offense continues to sputter, every critic will point to the obvious solution. Start Shedeur. But giving in now would be an admission that Stefanski misjudged talent and ignored the owner, a move that could cost him his credibility and potentially his job. Meanwhile, Haslam is playing the long game. He's applying pressure through private meetings, media narratives, and subtle reminders that the Browns' season is on life support. Every loss is a chance to highlight the missed opportunity and push for the rookie to finally see the field. For Haslam, it's a gamble, but one where the stakes are calculated. If Shedeur succeeds, the owner looks visionary. If he struggles, Haslam can claim he gave the rookie a fair chance. Either way, Stefanski is left holding the bag. The locker room feels it too. Players are starting to pick sides, some loyal to Stefanski, others eager to see the young quarterback take the reins. The tension is palpable in practice, meetings, and even casual interactions. Cleveland hasn't just created a quarterback controversy, it's created a culture of uncertainty that could fracture the team further. The reality is clear. Change is coming, whether the coach, the owner, or the quarterback likes it. The showdown isn't a question of if, it's when. And when it happens, it will ripple through the Browns organization for years to come, redefining careers, reputations, and possibly the trajectory of the franchise itself. As the dust settles on yet another chaotic week in Cleveland, one thing is crystal clear. Shedeur Sanders' future is anything but certain, and yet, it feels like the most important story in the NFL right now. The rookie quarterback sits on the sidelines, fully aware of the spotlight, the politics, and the stakes, while the rest of the Browns organization spins in circles around him. Every snap he's denied, every opportunity blocked, only adds fuel to a fire that's been quietly building since draft night. Cleveland has a long history of mishandling quarterbacks. Young talent comes in with promise, flashes of brilliance and fanfare, only to be stifled by indecision, politics, or poor coaching. And now, Shedeur Sanders is starring down that same path. But unlike his predecessors, he has the attention of everyone who matters. Owners, analysts, fans, and even rival teams are watching closely. Every practice rep, every sideline reaction, every press conference is analyzed, dissected, and debated. The pressure is enormous, but so is the opportunity. The question everyone is asking is simple. Will Shedeur get his shot before it's too late? Jimmy Haslam has made his intentions clear. He wants the rookie on the field, testing his limits and proving himself. Stefanski, on the other hand, is reluctant, cautious, and protective of his own authority. This tug-of-war isn't just a subplot, it's the defining storyline of the Browns' season. The rookie's chance to shine and the coach's credibility are on a collision course. But here's the twist. Cleveland is a proving ground. It's brutal, unforgiving, and politically charged. If Shedeur succeeds despite the obstacles, it could redefine what it means to be a Browns quarterback. It would send a clear message that talent cannot be held back by egos or politics, that preparation, poise, and skill can overcome even the most dysfunctional systems. And for Shedeur himself, it's a test of patience, focus, and mental toughness. The rookie who sits quietly now could emerge as the franchise's savior, the player who finally ends years of quarterback purgatory. As the season continues, every snap, every decision, and every play will be scrutinized. Cleveland's drama isn't just about wins and losses. It's about power, perception, and the future of a franchise desperate for stability. And at the center of it all stands Shedeur Sanders, a young quarterback whose talent is undeniable, whose patience is tested, and whose moment to shine could come sooner than anyone expects. The Browns' saga is far from over, and one thing is certain. When Shedeur finally takes the reins, the city, the team, and the NFL will be watching, and the story will never be the same.
If you enjoyed today's breakdown and want to keep up with all the drama, trades, and behind-the-scenes action in the NFL, then don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps this channel grow and lets us know you love this kind of content. And hey, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with your friends, your group chats, or anyone who loves football as much as you do. The more the conversation spreads, the better it gets. Most importantly, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss when we drop fresh stories, wild rumors, or breaking updates that the mainstream media won't talk about.